Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, two goals I want to make. This We're coming up to a New Year's Day on Mary Curie's calendar. I'll get to that in a second. So two goals I want to make for New Year 336 on the Polonium 210 calendar. I noticed earlier this year at my job that I need to network more because, long story short, I noticed that a lot of the people that I admire got there because they had the right network. Did they have talent? Sure. But without the network, the talent would have gone dormant, right? Let's just put it that way. And so one day I decided the best way to do that would be after work, go to the break room, talk about the nice weather that we now have. After all, we're just coming out of a summer heat wave, talk about sports, talk about how Taylor Swift recently got engaged to Travis Kelce. Those are safe subjects to talk about, right? And so I tried to do that, but I quickly got overwhelmed. And I went back to my car and I literally cried. And that was over a month ago, actually, and I still have not tried stuff like that again. I literally felt like I was kicked out of that break room. Now, I wasn't physically removed or anything, but I was psychologically walled off of that break room just because of differences in personality. And it's just now, and then I thought about why am I doing this? Well, I don't even like it. I'm doing it so that I could have a chance of becoming who I want to become, right? And it's just very toxic, in my opinion. The other thing I want to mention about these networking opportunities is that, I'm not a racist or anything. Forgive me if what I'm about to say sounds racist. But there is a certain race, and I hate to even say the race, that I have a hard time understanding, and I often get into conflict with people like that. I was in a hostel in Las Vegas. I was staying in a hostel, and the guy had said something that on a good day wouldn't have been a big deal, but he said it in a way that really asserted himself, and it kind of angered me. And funny thing is that we got into a scuffle, and it continued outside the hostel. And I got in my car and I angrily drove away. And when I revved the car, I think he now looking back, I didn't realize it at the time. He thought I was going to assault him with the car, and he ran like heck when I started the car and revved it up to from 0 to 30 in like a couple of seconds. It just goes to show what he's made of, right? He was only tough when we were outside of the car. Now I didn't realize that he thought I was going to hit him with the car, but I revved around the parking lot of the hotel just out of frustration. And not that I dislike him or anything. I just don't know how to have rapport with these kinds of people, and it's not limited to the people at the hostel or at work. Even normal encounters like when I the other day I almost ran into a little bit of drama. I had gone to a bank to try to get pennies for my art, right? And some of the banks are not always exactly friendly, giving coins to non-customers. And sometimes when I walk into the bank, I kind of scan around. Okay, this teller might be a little bit looser, and unfortunately, it was a busy Saturday, and I was trying to time the line just right so I would land on whatever cashier I wanted, and I ended up getting a different cashier, and it probably showed that I was kind of tense up. I got the pennies, but for a couple of moments, I just felt really tense up. I just don't deal very well with those kinds of. Do I dislike them? Not at all. They can hang with whoever they deal well with, but I don't hang well with them. Let's just put it that way. Now, speaking of tension and all that, one thing I do have going for me is that I'm financially a lot better than I had been in years past. Let's talk about what happens with financial anxiety for me. I was living in, believe it or not, over in Seattle. We have a lot of startup companies, and it's very easy to rent commercial space and just live in it. It's very inexpensive to live that way. Of course, you got to worry about getting caught and all that. I was pretty good at not being caught, but I ran into another problem. The owner of the commercial complex I was living in kept getting my bill wrong every fucking month. They had the wrong unit. They had fees that I didn't use, and I always had to talk to you. And one time, I called them. I wasn't sure what the bill was going to say, and I was calling them. And as soon as he opened his mouth with the wrong number, and it was a very shocking number, it got me all riled up, and I said a few things that I probably shouldn't have. And and nowadays, anxiety. Right. Um, just the other day, I noticed uh, s- uh, somebody had I had my credit card broken into, and the credit card company removed it, but then they added a bunch of interest on the charges. I had to call the credit card company again, and now that I have some financial flexibilities and I know I can solve those things anyway, those things don't bother me so much, right? In the past, seeing a $200 charge that I didn't expect just riled me up to the point that I would pick up the phone and I would say the wrong things and not be very friendly, right? Anyway, so I want to be a little bit more financially free, and ditto with workplace issues, right? If my workplace gives me a schedule I don't like, I don't instantly react with anxiety and say the wrong things to my boss. I reason with my boss instead of acting on my gut, right? And I really love that liberating feeling. I'll never forget that apartment. I never got caught living in it, but I think the way I reacted to that inaccurate bill created tension. And long story short, that was the beginning of the end of my time there. Had I had a little bit more financial flexibility, it might not have played out that way. Let's just put it like that. But at the time, I was just changing jobs. I was competing in the